Yeah, we in here. So, what I want to talk about today is who do you think you are? That's what really matters. And when it matters, it's what you can touch. Having a sound mind is equivalent to listening. When you have a sound mind, you can listen more. And it developed your skill of listening, having a sound mind. We in the realm of sound, and sound is also death. Death, death, like you died. So, this is why being emotionally stable is very important for you to stay consistent. See, ups and downs is determined by how unified your thoughts and emotions are. So in this video, this live right here, my second live, I'm breaking down your frequency. And I'm talking to those who intuitively know something is missing. Esoterically, who think in decades and not shortcuts. I don't even care if you inherited money and you're asking yourself, what now? Who also intuitively know that we in the age of partnership and having a partnership like a power couple, a unified vision between you and your long-term married spouse and having a unified vision. This is all one and the same. Who's has also made money, but it feels like it's inconsistent. How are you? Oh yeah, the topic is about your frequency and having a sound mind and how sound is also death. Death of physical self, death. How to be emotionally stable. This is having a sound mind. How your thoughts and emotions should be stable. And this is what creates your frequency. And your frequency creates the reality that you living in currently right now. So ups and downs. How you would see it is ups and downs. Downs will be your struggles, your descent. Everybody goes through these descents, but it's how you think about yourself when you are in that descent, or when you hit your power point. Does your frequency change? I'm gonna also show you how ancient these principles are, how frequency is important. So, like I said, this is for those who intuitively know something is missing esoterically, who think in decades, not shortcuts, who knows the value of partnership, especially in this day and age, and knows how important a unified vision is. I don't care if if you've been married long term, because it can be a power struggle. So if you unify something and it's riding on the same frequency, it could greatly stratospherically impact your reality because it's all about your frequency, excuse me, and how this correlates to your reality. So let's get right to it on this live. And I don't even drink soda. I was just drinking soda today. What's up, bro? What's up, baby? Chilling? Holding it down, gold by the pound? So, since I got this board behind me, we gonna talk about what frequency really is through the eyes of physics. This is not my personal belief. This is physics, right? And this is you. Always remember, this is you, your frequency. Hopefully y'all can see. And thank y'all for the support. I'm getting better at delivering. I wish I had I'm going to get me that. I'm gonna step it up a little bit. I might get me something where I can share my screen, where it's easier for y'all to, ingest the message. So this is your frequency. Oh, let's. This is through the eyes of Heinrich Hertz. And those of you that know my first name, know if y'all see me with some shit that say Heinrich, that's because y'all know me by my first name. But somebody in physics discovered this radio waves, electromagnetic waves. His name was Heinrich Hertz, physicist. I believe that's how you say it. So, this is a radio wave. This is frequency. This is how frequency goes. You see how it oscillates? This is called cycles per second. So to you, how can you apply this? It's going to get deeper in a second, but how can you apply this in real life? Cycles per second. You could have a pure intention. Let's say if you want to grow a garden, but the first thing that happens, you get your little garden, your little sprouts, but then you get some weeds. This is pure intention, leads to disruption. This is the descent. How you feel about that is very important. This also, how you feel about that will create your next expansion. It's going to get a little deeper. So it's oscillating, cycles per second. It's ironic that you could say what happens second after you have the pure intention. You get it? You ever been through that yourself? We all been through that. You try something and it feel like it worked, and then the struggle comes. Bunny ears, right? Pure intention leads to disruption. But it's your frequency gets affected when you dip down. So, back to Heinrich Hertz. Those of you that know me by my first name might know why you might see me with some shit called Heinrich here and there. But, okay. So this right here is a wavelength. The distance between the two crests. These are called crests. Which means like the amplitude of your frequency. It's high, right? It's like, it's a burst, right? This wavelength right here, that's a wavelength. That's like a cycle per second. In real life, another real example, this could be your decision making. No clarity. Your ability to decide, to cut off any other alternative can impact your frequency. You get it? So this is time right here. This line that's going across, right? That's time. Cycles per second, time. I gave you that. I gave you the example of oscillating frequencies, a decision, just not being able to make a decision. There's no clarity, no unification. If there's no alignment, you can't make a decision. You're bouncing between beliefs. You're bouncing between what should I do, who I am, who do you think you are, what happens now, what should I do. This is affecting or impacting your frequency. So back to the wavelength. This is also called, in ancient times, I'm showing you how these principles are ancient. Now, it's important because these are our ancestors. These are principles. One thing you could take from one place and apply it to the next, and it's true, is a principle. Can't escape it. There's right. This is true because I throw an apple in the air, it comes down. There's what you call ups and downs, but it's how you feel, what you think about when this is happening, your behaviors, how you respond when these things are happening is the determining factor. So this wavelength right here is also called, I didn't draw it right, but it's like a little a, it looks like. It's called lambda. So lambda, the Greeks stated, and they defined it as unification. It's a balance. It's a guidance. Balance between two opposing forces. This is lambda, the two crests, your two high points. This is also lambda, the wavelength, but it's your trough. They call it a trough, which is a descent. This is your crest, this is your trough, which causes a negative amplitude when it goes down, right? It's called lambda, which means balance. Some people might, I don't even want to take it there, matter of fact. I'm not taking it there because it goes into like LBGTQ, see where it's equality, everything is the same. That's when the frequency starts getting like corrupted. But it's a principle, ups, downs, how a wave moves, ebb and flow, right? So this lambda right here is important because you want to have a high frequency. This is an example of a low frequency. I'll tell you why in a second. But remember, I said you could apply this in your life because it's about your decision making, how clear you are, or one of the most important that affects your subconscious, which is what's creating your reality because everything's internal first. It's emotional volatility. The way you feel when transitions are happening. So it could be, you could have a trauma-based urgency. You went through something and time is affecting you. So your behavior would demonstrate like panic, like hustle, and that creates an energy leak. which affects your frequency, which your trough, your descent will be lower. And the adjustment for you to transition back to your crest will be slow. Now a high frequency, it's like this. What's the difference between a low frequency and a high frequency? It's how you could apply it in your life. Speed, what I talk about. I think I've said it in one of my, because I like to have fun with this. Esoterically, like I said. And this is also for people who don't feel no type of way. It's for entrepreneurs, solo creators, really a sovereign builder who wants to rule over their reality, wants to be a leader. So this is also for people that don't feel funny about metaphysics or God or the internal world. So, speed is the difference between a low frequency and a high frequency. Same thing, just quicker crest. There's really no trough. And like I said before, which I want to state, you know the Falcon is one of the fastest, I think it's the fastest animal on this planet. It flies at 200 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken. Speed is very important. Its vision, too, is very important. It's a key awareness. And time, right here, is the pivotal point, because time is awareness. Time is not, it's not abundant, but it's sacred. Because it records. So, if you have clarity, you understand time, you could decide faster, and you're more composed under pressure. And you have what people would call like a high capacity. So this knowledge is ancient, and I like talking about principles that never change, that I could apply them in different fields, and it's true, because I could pass these principles down, and depending on who's around me or who's listening, and they could take that and pass it down, because like I said in the beginning of the video, this is our ancestors knew this. People who came before you. I'm not just talking about your parents, your family, people who came before us. This in itself is an ancestor. And the whole idea is for you. Can I ask you this question? Do you want to be a good ancestor? Principles, esoteric principles, will keep you here in the realm of sound. Like the Gospel of Thomas said, death is no more. Meaning, if you understand these things, it's eternal. These things, it's a mechanism that we're in. This is mechanical. So, I'm gonna move this over, and I'm gonna show you how ancient this is. I gotta show you how ancient this is. Watch this. Keep this going if you can. And since, like I said, I don't have where I can share my screen yet, but thanks to y'all for the support. I'm growing. I'm leveling up by little things here and there. I'm not affected by not having it all right now. I know I remember all. So I want to show you guys something. I seen this picture, right? I was watching one of my shows I used to watch back in the day. It entertained me. for hours. It was called, I know y'all know this show. It was called Ancient Aliens, right? It was funny to me most of the time. Ancient Aliens, right? And this picture is it Egyptian. I'm letting y'all know. I want y'all to be open to esoteric things that came before you, and don't be closed-minded. Without me crossing any like religious boundaries, I just want y'all to be open-minded. So I want to show. I seen this on this show, Ancient Aliens, and this picture came up. And I just kept staring at this picture. I was fascinated and captivated by it. I just didn't understand why. This was like 5 years ago, mind you. I'm from New York. I live in Nebraska. Just like 5 years ago, I moved to Nebraska. I moved to Nebraska like 8 years ago, but when I seen this 5 years ago on this show, came up on the TV, I remember I stopped what I was doing and I was captivated by this picture. And I couldn't stop staring at it. As the guy on Ancient Aliens was talking about trying to program people, right? Look, peep game, peep game. Watch this. Remember what I showed y'all. I'm gonna try to keep this loud. Because this is Heinrich Hertz, right? This is Heinrich Hertz physics, right? This is frequency. So, he said, before I show y'all this picture, I think it's the dude with the spiky hair, right? He said, this hieroglyphic right here was showing us that there's ships in the sky and it's launching meteorites at the world. And if somebody's seen this show, just please say it in the comments. Yes, balance. We should strive, to be a leader. Watch this. Watch this picture. Watch this hieroglyphic. And I want to show y'all how ancient this knowledge really is. And it's only for you to be a good ancestor. It's only right. You find it. Trying to look for this picture right here. All right, here it goes. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think in the comments. And I'm gonna leave it here for a second. The dude said, it's guys on a ship launching meteorites at the earth. If you can't tell me that's programming, then I don't know what. But I want y'all to look at this picture. And every chance I get, I'm gonna put it back on the screen. This is how real this is. You see that? You see that those waves down there? That's frequency. This is principles. These are called opposite forces. If there's a up, there's a down. There's a within, there's a without. Whatever you strive for, you're gonna get the opposite. But it's who you think you are and who you believe you are. It's not really who you know you are. It's who you think you are within this. And if you change the space you occupy, I'm about to show y'all how real this hieroglyphic is. Because you see how I showed you, because you can look it up, Heinrich Hertz frequency. There's a low frequency and a high frequency, right? This is a high frequency. Okay, I'm gonna break this down. You see the three little beings on the top? Don't get lost by the names, right? But that's Amenhotep the second. Now, Amenhotep was known to be a charioteer, which means he was an expert at riding a chariot with the horses. This is horsepower. But he was an expert. He was skilled because of his bow and arrows that he launched. Riding a chariot. The blue Amenhotep, right? I'm going to show you how deep this is. Get ready. Is a symbol of unification. If I don't want to go too deep and lose nobody, but hydrogen is very important. It's called the God molecule because of its abundance in its universe, in this universe, right? So blue is a big signification on why people are painted blue or different colors. It's the frequency. It's called the God molecule, hydrogen, because of how it creates life, but it's abundant in this universe. I'm not here to lose y'all. I want to keep it simple. Now, you see this baboon. Baboons were sacred because in ancient times, they believed that they recorded the verdicts in the underworld. A monkey, it's primal, which means the hind mind. This has to do with your automatic emotions. An automatic emotion could be like when death comes, you cry. When something great happens in your life, somebody gets married, you get married. Tears, automatic emotions. Now, this is part of the collective, but it's how you feel. It gets recorded, and I want you to see how real this is. He has a crescent moon on the top. The moon. Now, I don't want to get too deep. I don't want to lose y'all in this woohoo stuff. Of course, I structure it because this is what I do, esoteric intelligence. It's part of my things that I do teach other people. Now, emotions are part of the primal mind. It's been embedded in us and entrenched for eons. And this is why the baboon is on this hieroglyphic. But now let's get to the childlike version of you, not a childlike mind. You don't want the universe to treat you like a child, but you have to have imagination. You have to be creative. And that's why this is a whole nother being now here. Don't get lost in the beings or the names. This is now Horus, right? It shows him next to a cobra. This is the awakening. This is a childlike mind, creative, spontaneous. Now, this is when it starts getting real. You see Horus in the middle again. You see the blue, unification, the center point. And you got him in the middle with the world, with the depiction of a world over his head. Sound, being able to listen, right? We're going to get back to this in a second. Being able to listen in the world, having a sound of mind, right? He's sitting in the center, but you see what he's holding? He's holding a crook and flail. This is frequencies oscillating, knowing the opposites, understanding. A crook and flail. This is like a herder, right? A crook brings like the sheep closer, the cow closer, that little hook, that staff with the hook. It's meant to pull. A flail whips crook and flail. This is electromagnetism, the same principle as a frequency. So, see how deep. I'm just using esoteric intelligence or principles so y'all understand I'm not making this up. So he's at the center point. He's unified. And he's green. He's the world. He has guidance. And I'm going to tell you why he has guidance. I'm going to tell you why in a second. Now, you have the Horus in the front. He looked like he has a staff. But if you could see, that's a snake. That frequency that you see is a whole snake. Now, lambda, it's the wavelength. Lambda is unification. This is how frequencies can affect you and your business. How not making a decision or being emotionally volatile or not knowing what to do. This is frequencies affecting you or affecting your reality. So the Horus in the front right there with the staff trying to hit the snake, the frequency is letting you know how pervasive. We're going to get back to that if we need to. How pervasive. Pervasive means unwelcomed, like widespread. It could spread physically, especially physically. You can look it up yourself. Pervasive, right? So a frequency can be pervasive if you don't understand your frequency, how misaligned you are. Now, certain people might come to me, certain entrepreneurs might come to me and want their whole team to take this on. But it's just the person, it's just the owner, the founder that needs to align his frequency, recalibrate it, is a correction. So you could be stable, right? So now, this lambda, it's about guidance. And like I said, how do you keep your crest high? How do you stay above the lambda or don't come down to the trough? There's, like I said, it's a principle. You're going to be, these opposing frequencies are inevitable. They are inevitable. But how you stay on your crest is through guidance, internal guidance, having a sound mind. You want to see again? This is the proof is right here. I'm just showing you what ancient aliens wouldn't want you to know. Like when I discovered this 5 years ago, I just truly didn't understand, to tell y'all the truth. See that straight line he's on? That's the world. It's painted like the world. Right? You see green and blue? The fastest way to any point is a straight line. It's how you stay on your crest. Having a sound mind, clarity. In a more practical sense, like I said, let's get back to that. Being able to make decisions with speed. Being emotionally stable. Of course, there's prerequisites to that, but it's just for simplistic reasons. I'm telling you how frequency affects your reality, your guidance, your duration. So again, your ship is your vessel. They call this a vessel, right? Your ship is your message, but your message is internal. It's how much clarity you have. Now, what y'all think about Said black people have been around for eons. You are correct. Yes. This is also everybody has been around forever. The awareness has been around forever. It gets deeper than the skin, but some people have this awareness more than others. And this is why you see people become successful. It's not about like effort equaling results. It's about your capacity emotionally, in the mind, spiritually, mentally. It's critical to your ascension. So just be in balance. Having this understanding of a principle, simple principle, leads to your ascension. I'm not saying things don't happen in your reality or won't. It's just you seen them. See, a thing about the God molecule, it's adaptability. The nature of its spirit, right? It's adaptability and being able to adjust. And that's why you've seen him holding the staff, about to kill that frequency. Yo, this is another thing. You can't be afraid to be assertive or to be you or to stand up for whatever frequency is in the way of what you made a covenant to internally. Whatever's stopping that, whatever's breaking that agreement, you better stand up for that. This is your shadow self. This is your shadow self. Oh yeah, I read quite a few. It's funny because look, I only read quite a few books. Like I always say, I'm not a book reader. Everything I ever went through was through experience. Most of it. I done skimmed through things like right here. Look, I'm being real as shit. Look what my book. Look what my phone is on. Some books. I'll give y'all some books. This book right here. Which one? The Isis Thesis, right? Y'all can see it. I don't know. The Isis Thesis right here talks about the phase lambda. It's phase lambda. That's a whole nother thing that we can get into. These is my books right here. On like the mind. That's all I got. On everything I love. I'm gonna give y'all a real experience. That blue. Nah. See, that's a one-on-one. Nah, that's not for everybody. I love y'all, but you know, just broadcasting that's something else. But I could tell you this though. So your frequency also has to do with oscillating beliefs. See, your belief has to come through it helps when it's an experience involved, right? So beliefs could either hurt you or help you. So if it's not benefiting you, then you should drop it. It makes your life much easier. Beliefs, you don't have to just like, if you find another truth, if you find a better truth to a belief that you once had, would you keep that old truth or the new truth? Would you adjust that belief? Adaptability. Same thing. Same thing. If you choose that you're gonna stay with that because yeah, that's who you are, then you're gonna deal with something. This is what happens. This is principle, my niggas. Watch this. Watch this. So, this is what happens when you shift. You ever notice when you shift, you feel like you descended a little bit. Like you, oh shit, I gotta learn something new. Like, this is what happens. This is physics, though. This is not me. I'm not making this up. Watch this. This is the other frequency wave. Watch this. Watch this. You see that purple line now? You know what happens when you was up here and now you shifted a belief? This particle moves down here automatically. This is where it starts because you shifted. That's a particle. That's an awareness. That's a principle. It automatically descends over a little bit. Descends over a little bit. Adapt, correct. You read a lot, yeah. I showed y'all my books. I skim through ancient texts though. I do whenever if I'm in the library or some comes up on my phone. I might research some ancient texts because I just love the principles in the what you call it. I'm looking for a word, but these like philosophies keep it's vague, right? So it takes the emotion out of it, and things get you could quote certain things, but if you don't walk it, like apply it, you could like let's say I could share a meme, but that doesn't mean you understand it because you haven't walked it. You just have accumulated knowledge of it. Yeah, philosophy is very deep. I like studying different philosophers and philosophies because it takes the emotion out of it. It keeps it vague. So once the emotion is out of the frequency or it's stable, you can see clear. You ever been mad and miss shit because you're so mad? It's practical examples I'm just showing you. Little practical examples of real things in the life. Your frequency is your reality. It's what you see. It's what's happening in your world. So beliefs, like I was saying, beliefs also affect your frequency because it's how far you can see outside of your kingdom, outside of your reality. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you a little story. I could say this because I left that life alone. See, I didn't never consider myself a drug dealer, but I dealt drugs for a very long time, made money off of it, lots of money, right? And subconsciously, and I just broke through that frequency, like survival frequency, a survival. I'm gonna give you an example. It's not about survival. It's about unifying all different versions of your frequencies into one, like I showed you in that. It's just unifying and being able to adapt, staying ready, because through the things that you recorded, the verdicts that happened in the underworld, through that record or verdict that got recorded, now you know those time frames are awareness. Time is awareness. And that's why you could be ready for the frequency like Horus was. And you can't be afraid of that shadow self of you. That's why you gotta do shit. And be afraid of yourself. Stay ready though. Okay, so beliefs. I never considered myself a drug dealer. I just dealt drugs, right? Subconsciously, you know what that did to me? Made me not value money. I didn't have financial literacy as a kid, and my parents didn't do that for me. So, growing up in New York, whatever, um, that's what it came down to. You know, it is a different vibration, frequency, is a different focus out there. But so I never valued money because the money was coming in so easy. You remember them times where you had to pay, everybody had to Nextel chirps. I used to go get minutes like every 2 hours. My people's one time I jumped in the car. We was riding around the whole day, whatever we had to do. And I had to stop and get cards. And by like the fifth card of the day, he's like, yo, my nigga, like, you still, damn, my nigga, like. So what he was really telling me is like, yo, like, what you doing with that bread? You feel me? So I never really valued money. That's what it did to me. And not knowing the value of money and me understanding that frequency now, that is a exchange of value. It's conviction. It's not really here. It's not even backed by nothing. It's not even backed by no metals, precious metals or nothing. That's how you know that it's really spiritual. And poverty is also spiritual. Like I said in one of my videos I was talking about diamonds. Coal and a diamond, like coal and diamonds are the same material, are the same material, just a different frequency activated by pressure. But so what I was saying I never really valued the money. And seeing money as a tool now, as an exchange of value. Like, only I think of what money means to me. Money doesn't think. It just does what it does. It doesn't think nothing about me specifically. It just does what it does. And if we understand those rules, you could be even more richly rewarded. So, yeah, just in hindsight, me thinking about that, I never really valued it. So that's how a subconscious belief could be so deeply entrenched that it could affect my now if I wasn't aware of it. I could get money and it just go out the same way. So if I want money, even if it comes in subconsciously, automatic emotions through the baboon, things that record in the underworld inside of you will keep happening. This is like partnership. Yeah, this is like you want partnerships. You want things like friendships or relationships that last, but do you might be afraid of speaking, of communicating. It's not an aligned frequency. So being the center point, the electromagnetic field, understanding the push and pull, the light and gravity. This is gravity. It's light. And like how he was sailing, right? On that straight path. It's how you stay on your crest, deciding quick, being mentally and emotionally stable. So, like I said, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to be a sovereign builder, entrepreneur knows there's a connection between frequency and finances, knows something is missing esoterically, has a spouse, been married for a long time, but wants to turn the power struggles between that relationship into a power couple, or, like I said, thinks long term, already makes money but is inconsistent. It's because of frequency. I can't even, um, there's receipts. And even the ancients knew what a frequency is. Not like ancient aliens talking about there's a guy on a ship shooting fucking, what'd you call it? Meteorites at the earth. Pay attention, man. See that frequency. I'm just putting it here so y'all keep looking at it. So y'all can understand that this is ancients and this is how you want to build something that lasts forever. You have to become a good ancestor. It doesn't mean that you can pass down purpose. I don't think you can pass down purpose. Everybody has their own. And just to make it simple, another practical example of frequency, subconsciously though, a boss at work delegates roles or tasks. This is also to protect. When you delegate, you protect your frequency. You could delegate it to AI or something, or whatever, other people. It's to protect your frequency by unifying all the different versions of you, all three, become eternal. Knowing who you are up here at every given point in life, you can delegate to protect your frequency. I'm giving you practical examples in the life. So I think this has been my second live. And thanks to y'all, man. Thanks to y'all for y'all support. I appreciate y'all. Y'all held me down, and that's why I'm able to step it up a couple notches. I'm still here. I ain't leave. I did take a little break. Sometimes you take a little break, and you could see, this is a principle, like a rest. Things happen in the rest. Rest. But whatever. It's like you go into the gym. You can only grow your muscles when you rest. That's another thing. Frequencies and knowing when to act and knowing when to rest. And if your emotions are volatile around that, you can't take a break. If you feel some type of way about that you gotta do it, you gotta do it now and not rest or not fall back a little bit, then that affects your frequency. That affects, when I say frequency, that affects your reality. You get it? So I used to, before, talk the esoteric or speak about it a lot. But now I like to bring it into clarity, into more awareness, into more structure. Because people need receipts. I just showed y'all that hieroglyphic. It's about the frequency. It's about unification. It's about being emotionally and mentally sound so you can stay consistent. You can stay focused. Because once you have that conviction, that is the currency that'll get you whatever you want. Conviction is the currency to whatever you want. Because you have that guidance, that intuitive guidance. It's the realm of sound, like the Pharaoh with the world on top of it. Listen gives you the ability to hear more. You hear more if you listen more. So you're always right internally. Just do that. Listen to that. Get used to speaking to that. If you listen more, you're hear more. Like hear, like HERE. But it's funny because if you hear more, you're hear more. And if you're here more, you're more aware. Where? Here. So all that matters. Centered. Electromagnetic field. What y'all call it? On fleeksy. Nah, for real. So yeah. Spiritually sound. Mentally. Emotionally. Y'all already know, man. Y'all know my slogan, man. Let's keep it infinite. How you stop this? Okay.